everyone, and welcome back to Jesse Heck Creative. Today we're going over some Crimson Vipers, some Steel Core Troopers, and Cobra Valkyries from G.I. Joe Classified series. Before we begin, make sure to hit that like button and smash that subscribe button. Now let's get to it. We've seen the Viper body mold before. This Crimson one is no different except for color. I love the blue that really stands out amongst all the red on the body. You've seen this body mold before once again. Yes, I put the goggles on the thigh because on the head it would probably break or something. And yeah, it's nice, but I don't know if I really like all the gray. It needs more black and more darkness. These light gray pieces over here don't really work too well as long with this over here. For me, just kind of distracting. And there is kind of too much color on this figure. Again, we've seen this before. It's nice, but yeah, I also find the plastic quality is kind of dying. This is really loose, whereas this has somewhat of a ratchet. Yeah, I got two of them for army building. They're nice, but I think just two for me. Here is the Crimson Viper standing next to the 3-pack Viper with darker coloration. I actually broke down and got this. It's a pretty cool figure, and I like how it looks a lot. It's very neat. We also have the Crimson Twins, Tomax and Xamot, or Xamot and Tomax. Who's who? You'll never know. But they are pretty cool figures, and all look great together. I cannot wait for the actual Crimson Twins with Crimson Baroness to show up soon. I'm very excited, but yeah, the Crimson Viper just adds to the Crimson Army. Enough said. And the Crimson Viper also stands at about 6¼ inches tall or so. The Steel Core Trooper figure looks really cool. The helmet is super nice. Reminds me a lot of like Halo, Master Chief, etc. That kind of aesthetic. It's pretty neat. Also Tron lines too on that mask with the eyes. Looks really great. There's also some teeth down here, I think. It's pretty weird. Hannibal Lecter-like. A lot of different places that this mask has been taking from, and that's pretty neat. Also has some pretty nice articulation too, moving up, down, all around on a ball. Not too much, but just pretty good for this. The alternate head sculpt has a lot of hallmarks of a flight helmet. It's pretty cool. The yellow visor is really nice as well. And I like how this looks. It's a little more flight helmet-y, a little more real world as opposed to the more sci-fi one. So take your pick, but I like having either on because I got two of these packs, and it's a pretty cool head sculpt with similar articulation, a little bit stiffer than before, but still nice looking. The body sculpt beneath all the new armor, I believe, is Beachhead, so that's good. They got some reuse at least, but the armor itself is pretty neat. We have a knife coming out of here. It's a pretty good knife. Not sure if we've seen it before or not. Just slide that back in there. We have a logo over here. It's a steel core right over here with half star, half eagle. That's pretty cool. An eagle star. You got some sort of bullets over here, a couple shell casings. The Joe Pro up here, as always. I don't know if I want to take these off or not. The armor, I guess, not probably. The legs are reuse, I believe, from Duke. So a lot of this is reuse. I think we have some beat from, I'm thinking, Stalker, or no, it's Breaker. Yeah, this is what everyone loves though. This backpack is pretty neat. The sort of worn down American flag is interesting. I think I prefer like a regular old, square on one. This is a nice touch anyways. Not sure what this all means though. JPU8I1G-P. It's almost like a code or something to put in somewhere. This piping has some texturing to it, pretty neat. And there's some pegs in the bottom for accessories. And boy, does this guy come with a lot of accessories. He also comes with this gun over here with the, little pull-out mag right over here. That's pretty nice. It does slot in very well. A pistol right over here. You can take it out on here and then put it back in over here. And yes, this is on a peg and it does come out, and this I'll have to talk about later on. The other gun over here has a scope, pretty cool, and the mag goes really deep into it. I'm not sure why, if that's an issue with mine or not, but it looks cool anyways. And the guns kind of fit interestingly in his hands. He has an old school trigger finger hand that's less malleable. It's alright, I guess, but we could have better trigger finger hands in the future that are a little more gummy, a little more flexible. But I do like how this looks. There's a loadout over here and it just looks nice. The blue is kind of weird to me, a little bit too noticeable. I wouldn't mind it being tan like the pants and having the accents be green and black. But yeah, it's a fine figure all around. There's the back just in case, and these jetpacks are pretty cool. The head of the female Steel Core Trooper is the same as the male version, just scaled down a bit for the smaller head. Yeah, it looks fine. It's the same kind of thing, similar articulation, but I think a little better, honestly. Same with the other head. It seems a little bigger on this body though, same kind of articulation, and looks pretty nice as well. The female female steel core trooper body is a major disappointment to me. You do not get double jointed elbows, which means posing with this weapon is awful, and this actually has a silencer over here as well as a mag over here, and it doesn't really fit in the hand that well. It just came out on me, so discard. Anyways, it's the same as the male variant, and it's fine, but one key difference, and the worst part about it, is that you can't even put in the jetpack fully. It just barely goes in, and there's a lot of wiggle room for that peg, and it just is just awful. There's some peg out over here, and if you move it a little bit, it does stress the peg itself. Even when taking it out, it kind of breaks that a little bit, see? So it's horrible and awful. Yeah, this is just kind of a trash figure. This is basically Lady J body mold. It does have the knife over here, also the pistol over here. Still hard to remove from the holster, and yeah, aside from a couple new parts here and there, it's all reuse from the previous figure, Lady J, other figures. This is kind of trash for me. I'm sorry, Hasbro. You gotta do way better, especially in 2023. At least the bright side about this figure is that you can use the jetpack propulsion portions on it to get some really cool photos. So at least they have that. Those ports in there are working like a charm. I just don't know how this guy is going to not burn his boots while using this, but at least it looks pretty cool. You can rotate it a little bit, and it's pretty fun to have. It's a nice effect, and the jetpacks that I can't use for the female versions will at least be used for some other characters such as Duke, Stalker, you name it, anybody, Snowjob even. And here is a complement of blast effects that come with one of these packs. Yes, I won't be using these all that much, and I don't really want to use these all that much at least, but for the jetpack ones, I'll use those. But for the gunfire ones, I might use them sparingly, but they look cool at least. Here are the steel core troopers next to Duke and Sergeant Slaughter, both wearing the jetpacks, and I have noticed with my keen eye that still is a peg sticking out of these. It's hard to see, but yes, it is the same issue as we've had with the female figure, so the peg is just too long. That's my big issue with this. The peg is way too long on these figures. I think it was made long to accommodate this figure alone, but if you made it shorter, it would accommodate everybody else in the line. So Hasbro, you done messed up with this, and that's a shame. The steel core trooper male stands at about 6 inches tall, and the female stands at about maybe 5 3/4 inches tall. Yeah, it's kind of a disgrace. But what isn't a disgrace is some of the figures we'll be seeing next right after this. Hello everyone, and thank you so much for watching so far. Make sure to click like, subscribe, share, and leave a comment. You can also click the bell icon for more creativity. Now let's get back to it. Aside from the Baroness and Zorana, I'm glad to have the female Cobra troopers in the Cobra ranks. This is awesome. I really like the face paint a lot. It's really nice. The paint and print are wonderful. The helmet is pretty cool as well. Can come off, and putting it on, I kind of slide it from the back all the way to the front. It looks very nice and does add a little bit of a scowl to the figure. Kind of hard to put on sometimes. Once you get it, you got it. You got to really push from the back mostly to get it on straight. It's a very wonky piece, and the head articulation is nice for this figure and looks pretty cool, and the loadout is pretty neat as well. You got 2 guns over here and a backpack that's really nice with a small peg on it. It's pretty good. We have a little gear over here with a knife once again. Everyone's having knives nowadays. It's a new fashion trend. The Cobra sigil is really nice up here, looking great. We also have some nice striations and sort of stretch marks on the clothing, which is awesome. We have a band over here for the arm, another sort of armor over here for this. The hands look really nice as well. The whole body sculpted pretty well. I really like this. I dig it a lot. Looks great with all the different little doodads, and little points of detail on here are really sweet. Another removable gun over here, and putting that back in, and we have a reverse gun over here. Pretty interestingly enough, same gun as before we just saw. Putting that back in, I think it's interesting we have a reverse gun and a gun, which is pretty cool. And the articulation's the same as every other Joe figure. This is just a fantastic figure though. I really love how this looks. It's just excellent. We also get a variety of skin tones as well as gear colors. Same thing basically, and I've noticed that you can't switch out from left and right and right and left. It doesn't really fit. This doesn't fit over here, and this doesn't fit over here on this side. You can also remove the pieces of the guns, so take that off, that magazine right over here, and place that back in. Very nicely done. And this piece is very small, hard to figure out how to fit it in, but once you fit it in, you're good. And that fits on right there. Same gear, different colors, that's all. I do like how we get different variants and options for these figures. They're pretty cool, as well as skin tones and everything thing looking great. I don't like how these boots are this color though, so you can't switch out the gear though, but it's fine. You have a desert version and you have a regular version, you know, side by side for your Cobra ranks, looking pretty cool. It's really nice. There's also an officer's helmet as well as a gas mask you could put on these figures, and it looks pretty cool, but I don't think I'll be using it. It reminds me too much of Darth Vader or some kind of samurai thing, honestly. I'm fine with seeing the eyes. I'm fine with the different skin tones. Let's just move on from this weird Darth Vader mask. And here we have a similar loadout of weapon fire compared to the Steel Corps Troopers. I do find this to be pretty good, if not better. I like the yellow more than the smoke effects. It adds more vibrance and way more coolness. I just think Cobra's really cool. I really love these figures. They have an awesome look to them, as well as great army building potential for desert and regular female troopers. That's just amazing. I'm glad we're getting more desert figures too. We got 2 different Dusties. We also got that Desert Snake Eyes coming out soon, and that's wonderful. But back to these figures looking great with their double jointed elbows that the Steel Corps Trooper female version didn't have. That's a shame. It makes it worse in my book that these have them and those don't. The Joes are really slacking, the villains are really rocking, so this is just amazing. I also love the amount of different heads you can place on these figures, and just the amount of potential for customizing and kit bashing is amazing for these. Here are the 2 female Cobra Troopers next to my kit bashed Mud Trooper that shares design elements as well as mostly color scheme with these female Cobra Troopers. They look nice together, and we also have the Baroness, who is a female figure that really needs some new elbows. She'd be awesome double jointed elbows. I don't know why they haven't made her with them yet. I believe her Crimson variant is coming out soon with that, so I'm glad these female Cobra Troopers stand at about 5 3/4 inches tall or so, and they look really nice. Overall, this is quite the mixed bag. The Crimson Viper is basically a given. We've been seeing a lot of Crimson characters recently, and I'm glad to add more to the team. I like the color scheme, however there's a little too much gray. The blue ascot really adds a nice pop to the figure, and it's the same as we've seen before with Vipers, just Crimson this time. The Steel Corps Troopers are kind of a letdown for me. I do like the concept, but the execution is horrible. The male figure looks the nicest out of both of them. I do like the weapons loadout for him, and the helmets are pretty cool as well. The body is mostly reused, but it's kind of hidden by all the armor on him. It's actually pretty nicely done. The female figure is a complete letdown for me. Reused parts everywhere, as well as those single jointed elbows that are horrible and can't even hold a weapon straight. The hands are the worst part though. They're very gummy and terrible. This figure needs a complete redo. And the worst part about both of them is the jetpack only fits one of the figures, and this figure only. The peg is way too long, and we had to cut it ourselves. Hasbro released more jetpacks with shorter pegs so every figure can use them. Luckily, the day is saved with the female Cobra Troopers. They are excellent and awesome. I really love how they look, with great customizability to them, as well as an insane weapons loadout and some really great articulation. I love how these figures look, move, feel, and express. They are insanely great and wonderful for army building, kit bashing, what have you. They are just phenomenal. If you're a fan of Cobra, I highly recommend getting the female Cobra Trooper pack. It is one of the best 2 packs that Hasbro's ever put out for the G.I. Joe Classified line. The Crimson Vipers are cool as well if you want to build up your Vipers or get some more Crimson figures. But I would pass on the Joe side of things, with the Steel Corps Trooper pack being one of the worst 2 packs they've put out. Some really bad accessories that don't fit with other figures, only fit with a single figure, and don't even fit with the other figure that's pictured on the box wearing a jetpack. But make no mistake that when it comes to jetpacks, Hasbro needs help. So which one is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching Jesse Heck Creative. Feel free to click like, subscribe, share, or leave a comment. You can also visit us at jesseheckcreative.com, where you'll find more reviews like this one. Thanks again for watching, and keep being creative. Stay tuned.